Yes, my people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another AFTV Live. Now, today's news and what's been going on around Arsenal has been from Edu's interview with Arsenal Football Club around just, I guess, the signings and the business so far, and him basically doubling down really on Project Youth. And we're going to get into some of his quotes and get into some of the comments he made. And I'm going to get a lot from you guys as well today. So there's going to be a lot in this show. So we're going to start with obviously the Edu stuff. We'll talk about the future of Arsenal because he mentions the plan for the next couple of seasons. So we'll discuss that. We'll also discuss Raphinha, the bid being rejected by Leeds, and how much they're looking at for Raphinha. And then right at the end of the show, I had a little, interactive activity. This sounds like school, innit? I had a little interactive activity. So there's going to be graphics popping up, and I want you guys to get involved in the comments. There's going to be a poll popping up, and I've got an either or. So there'll be one player or another player. And I want you guys to just, all you got to do is select it in the poll and we'll discuss it. But let's just start with introducing, saying hello to Turkish. Turkish is good, sorry, bro. Doing a long intro.
Yeah, calm.
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Just getting straight into this. Let's go into Edu anyway, because this is kind of what's been circling around today. Now, obviously, he spoke of Arsenal, and I want to go from just through some of his comments. We'll start with this one. 100% Edu confirmed that has to be Arsenal. Now, he speaks about youth here. He also goes on to say, we have to go into the market for exciting players with the right age, the right attitude, and the right mentality. We want to see the club like Arsenal with a young squad, an exciting squad with a big future, because as I said last summer, the idea is to have a young squad. We want to give them the opportunity to play together for 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 seasons. Now that's one of the main quotes. I want to digest it with you guys listening and watching, and Turkish as well, because right, let's start. I like Project Youth. You know, I've been around you a lot. You know, I work with young players. I understand it. I like seeing young players thrive and succeed within a club. However, it's all well and good, but when he's saying, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, that's all well and good, but I can't be a fan here and sit, obviously I always sports, but I can't sit here and think, boy, the 3rd season that the young squad's being put together, we're hitting 7ths, we're hitting 8ths, we're hitting 9ths, 4th season, we get into top 6. Like, I can't keep seeing it, multiple seasons where it's just youth, and we're not progressing. Now, the youth can be seen as a blanket as well, because it's a shield, some would say. It's not all negative, but some would say it's a shield in the sense that, okay, we're recruiting young players, you can't get on their backs. Like we saw it with, the number change for Eddie and Nketiah. We saw it with other young players, even Emile Smith-Rowe with the 10. We saw all that. I'm all happy with Project Youth, but I do need to see Arsenal bring in some experience. I never remembered an Arsenal side where, yes, we do bring young players through. I remember Wenger days bringing young talent, but he also had a lot of experience around him. And I mean, valuable experience. I look at our experienced players right now, and if we look at last season, they haven't been good enough. That's a fact. They really didn't show their experience at all, in my opinion. Many of the senior players, and a lot of them slowly are filtering out, and that kind of says it all. So going forward, I'm happy with Project Youth, but you need to start adding quality when it comes to experience, because these young players, I just spoke before we went live on the fact that, on the fact that what players have the experience of, these cup finals. You look at Saka probably in the Euros. I believe Tini's had some experience in major tournaments. So it's just like, you need to have experience when it comes to those big games, massively. And that's where we could falter. I think the loss of getting that 4th spot comes down to, 1, the January window, and 2, the lack of experience in the side. I'm all for Project Youth, but they can't keep shoving this down our necks and expecting the fans to just take it, for me, as a shield for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. That's my opinion. But Turkish and people in the comments, what are your thoughts on they're sticking with this? Are we wanting to see? I'm wanting to see a senior player come through the door at some point in this window. I don't want to see just 19 to 22-year-olds. You, Turkish?
It sounds good, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds
good. It sounds like something you should get behind. It sounds like the right thing to do. Young players, young, mentality and whatnot. But at the end of the day, listen, I should have checked this. Off the top of my head, I don't know in the last few years. I don't think that's changed, but I think the 2005, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but the 2005 Chelsea team was the youngest average age to win the league, if I'm not mistaken. And
United Was United's one?
United in the 90s as well, but I think
kids?
Chelsea beat that by a few months.
Okay.
Chelsea's average age was, I think, 25, verging on 26 years of age.
Well, I mean,
and that's not that young.
No.
That shows that there was a mix. There was a mix of, you know, young players there, but there was also enough experience to bring that average age up to the mid-20s. I think it's all good and well. Listen, let me go back to the quote.
That's it.
We want to give them the opportunity to play together for 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 seasons. Now,
and they become assets. So that means they're going to hold on to these players.
Yeah, but these young players are going to want the opportunity to win things and compete in the major honours, not the opportunity to play together. This is not daddy daycare where you're growing up together and you just want to be in the same school as your friend. You know, when you're leaving primary school, moving into secondary school, you just want to go to the same school as your friends are going to go to, and you try and push your parents into that direction or whatnot. This is a football club. And these young players, yes, it's good that the aim is for them to stick together. But that was the aim previously with the Fabregases and Nasri era. That was the aim of the Oxlade, Wilshere and Ramsey era. Those were the aims then as well. Youth project, stick with them. The reason we went to a British core is because after the Fabregas Nasri era, I remember whether Wenger said it or a report came out that foreign-based players coming into the league, they don't have as much loyalty to the club.
Right, because I was confused by, but we went to that.
So that's why we went to a British core.
All there.
Then the British core came about, and the British core was meant to
hold loyalty? Is that what it
because
was?
British, you know, the values of the club, Arsenal, they mean something, they're massive and so on.
Fair.
But then we saw how that ended as well. Even players like, let's say, an Oxlade, who wasn't a great youngster, he left the club. He left the club because he thought the club couldn't give him what he wanted, which was to compete and challenge and take the next step up. Now we've got an abundance of young players that, in my opinion, have a much higher ceiling than Oxlade did around those times. Are we going to make the same mistake with these players? These players don't just want the opportunity to play together. Yes, that's good, but they also want the opportunity to play at the highest level and win and learn and be motivated. You know, so like I said, it's more PR because it's nice. It's nicely worded, an opportunity for the young players. Obviously, young people in general, not just footballers. Young people in general. When you say in the world, young people need more opportunities, that sounds like a statement that everyone should get behind. Everyone in the world. If you don't get behind that, what's wrong with you?
It's a good way to look at it.
So it's the same thing here. It's like the opportunity to play together, but like I said, these players, Saka, in a couple of years, if he continues his development, he's not going to be thinking, I want to play with these players for 3-4 years if the club are not moving in the right direction. So it's a balance. I'm happy that we're signing young players that are talented, yes, because we didn't do that right either. But let's make sure we're changing around the other things that we've done wrong over the years in terms of buying quality experience that... Not all experience is good experience. Some people are just experienced by age.
That's the truth.
Do you know
that's
what
very
I mean?
much the truth. A lot of that is on our side.
And then you have the Louises and Willians and Czechs where, yes, they're experienced and yes, they've been at the highest level of the game. But when you've won it all with a club down the road, one of your rivals, they ain't got much motivation to come here and win it with us. The way Czech left the club, he mentioned about there's a different mentality in the dressing room and, you know, you need to win at Chelsea, at Arsenal is very different. And I know we've changed since then, but let's make sure we've changed. Let's make sure they're not having players thinking this again.
Yeah.
Because this Project Youth will go up in the air like the last two have done.
Yeah, do you have to commend Arteta then for that? Because he's cleared players out that I think are trying to dismantle that mindset of experience and coming in to waste time and not being just experienced by age. You think you can give credit to Mikel Arteta for that? Because even Edu says that, he's like, we want the right mentality, which again we can question of these young players, right mentality, right attitude, which you can then question, can Mikel Arteta, there's a big question on that, can he handle players with egos or big attitudes or big personalities in the change room? There is a question there, but he seems like he's cleared a lot of that out to avoid, you know, the growth of these young players being stunted by bad
growth. Competition aids growth as well. You know, playing time is not the only measure. Is not the only road to growth. That's one road. Playing time, of course, when it increases incrementally over the years as you get older.
Yeah, competition is definitely
more responsibility, more burden. But the thing about our youth is they've come in at the top end of that. They haven't come in being bedded in. They've come in
and all the weights on their shoulders
and become the focal point of the side. So it's very different now. even with the Raphinha link, and we're gonna go into it. Yeah, competition matters. You know, I think Saka played. How many games did Saka play in the league? Definitely over 30 games.
Yeah,
he probably
he
played the majority.
He played the most.
He played the most, if not all. Was he injured for any games? I can't remember. Let's say 36, 37
I think it's
games.
36.
That's too much.
And 2 he come off
That's
the bench,
too much.
I believe. Yeah.
Again, I look at the past, and I look at Wilshere, and I look at what Wilshere said, and I look at what Fabregas said, and the excessive game time cost Wilshere in terms of injuries.
Big time.
But the excessive pressure is a factor behind Fabregas' decision to leave. If you go back to quotes from him, he said, you know what, it just felt like everything was put on me. I was the next up, but I wasn't supported enough around me. Everything was on me, and I was the focal point at such a young age. It was a lot of pressure, you know?
Yeah.
And then he left as well. So let's learn from these. Let's learn. Like I said, on paper, going with young players that are quality, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't? Manchester City would love young players of quality. Liverpool, young players of quality. Chelsea, Man United, Tottenham, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, all of these clubs would love young players that have quality, that can build on their price tags. Their development might push them into the world-class bracket in years to come, and then, you know, you've got a massive asset on your hands. Maybe like Coutinho with Liverpool. Coutinho came to Liverpool roughly, off the top of my head, let's say around 10 million. It was very little. And then they sold him for what, 140?
Yeah.
And then they rebuilt their side into what we've seen over the last few years. So we need to make sure that, yes, you go with youth and go with quality, because youth and quality, they need to come hand in hand. It can't just be youth. It needs to be quality as well.
It feels like that, though, doesn't it? It feels like the last season, it felt like it was just youth. Like, because every time I watch Arsenal, I look to the youth young players. I look to Saka, I look at the Martinellis. I look for them to really get us out of sticky situations. I never really looked to the experienced players. And every time I did, I saw them get red cards. I saw them give away penalties. I saw them do a lot of mistakes. And it's not for the majority of the season, but a lot of it, no, that is for the majority of the season. But yeah, it is. It must feel like that. And I know, being a young player, that can get tiresome. It really can. Imagine being that player. Imagine being Saka and being at a club and being like, you go straight in to be the top. Same when Emile Smith-Rowe came in as well. Like, when you go straight there and all the weights and the pressures on your shoulders, that can be exhausting. And it's something that, again, I think competition helps. I think competition gives them a break as well, relieves the pressure.
And it puts them into the forefront of the media. We already know what the media in England's like, let alone young players being the face of Arsenal Football Club. That's a big amount of pressure. And I know people can turn to me and say, you know, you don't help. But I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm not necessarily, at times, especially after a 90-minute game or after a loss, I'm not thinking about their ages. I'm thinking about the quality we have and where we are as a club. But it falls on them as well, because they are the face of it. But that's not fair.
That is football, though. In a sense, that is football, though, as well.
Yeah, but it's not football for the big teams.
I hear that, but no, but because if you look at the young players, their wages, say, they get offered a certain amount of wages, they take that. That will happen. Numbers, we talk about, again, bring up Eddie Nketiah, the numbers, that's added more pressure for these young players. But I don't see them saying no to these things. I think if you was in the same position at Arsenal Football Club and you got offered all this, would you say, do you know what, cut my wages in half because it's too much, that's too much pressure for me. Give me a number like 68 because it's too much pressure to take that number. That's part of football.
It's a balance. If Robbie comes to me and says, listen, he's going to leave AFTV.
You're going to run it.
No, if he said, I want to leave now, and Turkish, you know, I want you to step up to the plate. Now I have a decision to make. I know what comes with that role. I know the responsibility that comes with that role. And it's up to me then to determine, do I want that role and everything that comes with it? And then maybe determine how much that role is worth. And all of that, like, look at Mesut Ozil. Yeah, when Mesut Ozil signed the contract, a lot of people said it's not his fault that the club offered him 350, and it's not. But at the end of the day, negotiations led down to that road. So if you're signing as a 350k player, then you need to be producing like a 350k player. I don't care if you're a striker, an attacking mid, or a centre-back. There's examples across football that shows a certain standard. So once you sign that paper, surely you know, signing it, I'm going to be on this amount of money. I'm taking on this responsibility. I've got to also be ready for it. As much as, yes, the club are putting you in a position that it could cost you your reputation, or it can cost you something. It's still up to you to make. And I'm not saying you go in and say, nah, I don't want that money, half it, because I'm not ready for that responsibility. But it got to that stage through negotiation. And then it held us back in terms of buying other players them times. Remember, our wage structure was fucked.
Yep.
We can only loan players. Did that help Mesut Ozil? It didn't, because one of the things with Ozil was build around him. He needs players around him. Well, when he's taking 350k at Arsenal Football Club, the first player to touch such a high figure, then how are we meant to build around him adequately with the quality players? He's saying he's the star by signing this contract. So
we've been stuck in that rut for a while.
Essentially, you need to be producing like a star.
We didn't learn from that either, because it happened with the same thing with Obra as well. Obviously, he gave him that much money as well, and then it took a bit of time, but then that all collapsed as well. So we're not really learning, but I'm sure with Mikel Arteta coming in, clearing out the players and rebuilding, using his Project Youth, I think he's trying to change that narrative. But again, we discussed that massively in the sense that, you know, it can't just all be youth. Just want to take some super chats before we go into the next.
Well,
next
Tony
section.
says Chelsea won the Champions League average age 24, so the game's changed a bit. I assume you mean last year, and yeah, the game has changed. Not a bit. The game has changed a lot, but even the average age of 24, and you look at the way Chelsea won it, you know, they got the rub of the green.
Yeah,
it's not like they was close to being the best team in Europe. It's a cup competition and they won it. Cool.
But that's still can't. I'm not going to take away from them. Average age of 24 win Champions League.
Yeah,
that is
but the
massive
league is a better like barometer of because it's 38 games, home and away. Same 19 sides.
Cup competitions completely different.
It can work out different ways, but it's a good point. It's a good, and football has changed. ATVF says, when is Turkish and Robbie's show coming? The streets need it soon, my guy. Soon.
That is coming.
It's been a busy time with Arsenal rumours recently, and players signed in Vieira, and then we've got the German Cecil's going over to Germany in the first week of July.
Yeah, and then Orlando.
So if I'm honest, I think it will start the week before the season kicks off. I think that's probably the best place to start, the week before the season kicks off. So look out for that. Unless Robbie has other ideas and something comes out that I walk into the office and I'm arguing with him about, then I'll say, Robbie, pull out the camera. Let's just go live. And we'll start it then. Mark says, Raphinha is a perfect fit for Arsenal. Overrated, overpaid, Europa League standard. Remember when people were excited with Pepe? He's a poor man's Pepe. Sorry. I get the concerns.
I'm not massively on Raphinha, you know. I really am not. And I know everyone here is like, yeah, no, I'll take the signing, but I think there's better players out there. He wouldn't have been on my list, but if we get him, it's still a good signing.
In an ideal world, I'll take Raphinha. He's quality, but it's not an ideal world at Arsenal. I still feel like, especially the money being tied for Raphinha, that could be better.
They're saying like 65 to 60 million for Raphinha. Plus, I don't see how him and Mikel Arteta, how they. If I'm honest, how they get on, I don't see how that dynamic works. I really don't. But I could be wrong. I don't think he fits Arteta's profile of player. I didn't think it did. But, you know, and he's definitely not worth for me 65 million. That is outrageous, which we'll get to in a second.
This guy said, this bearded man is just waffling now. How can you blame our young players for being ambitious? What am I hearing? You're not hearing correctly then, my guy, because I'm not blaming them for being ambitious. I'm saying we've got to be wary of their ambition. So maybe rewind the video a little bit, listen back carefully, and then ask what you're hearing, because you haven't been hearing properly. Marco, I'm a fan of the project, but we need experience. And experience has the caps lock on, so he means it. I think it goes without saying. Listen, Chelsea 2005, average age of 25 years, and I just checked it, 25 years and 312 days. That was a Chelsea, so it's close to 26.
Yep.
That the proof's in the pudding there. I know the Champions League one came in from Tony earlier. CC says, love the analysis from Turkish. Love for the love. Come on, man. You know what it is already. Let me see. Owen, Turkish, you are one of, if not the only realistic influence on AFTV. You know that Arsenal is not signing Jesus, Raphinha and Tielemans. I know. At best, we sign Jesus and that's it. 6th place, says Owen. Yeah, I'm not one to believe that we're going to sign all of these players. Do you believe we're going to sign all of these players? Raphinha, Tielemans and Jesus?
I think Jesus is close. I
think we'll
get Jesus out of all of those. Raphinha, now that Leeds obviously wanted more than Arsenal were clearly trying to turn an offer, I don't think we'll get Raphinha either. But yeah, Jesus, I think out of all those three is the main one. And if I'm honest, I'll be happy with that. My main thing was sorting out a striker. We got blindsided with the Basuma thing and DM. Yes, we do need defensive midfielder, but my main thing was sort out the attack. Arteta's had 2 seasons now to work on defence. He's worked on defence, in my opinion, enough. We've got Saliba returning, we've got Ben White, we've got Gabriel. It's now time to work on the attack. So yeah, I think Gabriel Jesus would be should be priority, and I see it seems very close. That's for me the most important. 6th place, he said at the end there as well. And we've spoken before.
Amir says we always had a good mixture of experienced players and youngsters, and that's the key. And that's why what Edu's saying, I love it in terms of what he's saying about the youth, but he needed to add in there that these young players need the right level of experience, and that's the balance we need to find. If that was said as well, then I'd be fully behind it. But without that, it feels like it's very much, here you are, more youth, get behind them.
But yeah, when's the time where Edu and the board and the team look at it and say, okay, now we need to start bringing the experience, because we can't keep pushing Project Youth every transfer window. Like, surely there has to be a time where you build in experienced players. I'm not even talking about the ones that are here currently, but you start to buy them, because I don't believe Project Youth consistently is going to work. It doesn't work. So I'll be very intrigued to know when they're going to stop this Project Youth. We must look at, bringing experience around them.
Couple here from Rudy, but no comment attached, Rudy. Thanks for the super chats, but the comments haven't been attached. If you did miss out on putting a comment, put it in and I'll try catch it. Good old Bob Marley's in the chat. Why support Arsenal? So negative, you need to enjoy it. And I'm going to go over to my friend Best in the World's comment to answer that. This fan base is so naive. It's sad how the Kroenkes made them accept BS. That answers that then, Bob. Zayn says, nah, Turkish Kroenkes are great owners. They took the club from champions to 8th. As a Milan fan, I thought we had the greatest fall of any club, but I'm wrong.
They're good owners of LA Rams, and then they're American sports, but not Arsenal. Let me tell you that now.
Benny says, in the NHL. Sorry, anytime I saw the N and the L and I thought he meant North London Derby, but then NHL. In the NHL, you build around young, high potential players. After they grow and begin to win, you sprinkle in top talent. If we do this, I'm fully bought in. I get it, Benny, and listen, a lot of people are telling me that. So cool, if it is that and it goes on to work, then I will retrace my steps and retrace my comments and say, listen, they done their thing, they had their way, they stuck to their way, they supported their man, they supported their structure, they supported this project, and it's paying dividends.
Do we have enough youngsters right now to build around? Do you think right now in this Arsenal Football Club, with the players we have, the young players, is this enough now to say, okay, this is fine, now let's start bringing experienced players? Because for me, I believe so. I think up front is, for me, the most high pressure position. It always was glorified and paid the most. Is that striker position. So I personally do like experience in that position. We currently have Eddie Nketiah in there. Obviously, I expect now an experienced player to come in and, like Gabriel Jesus, to maybe fill that role. I don't expect another youngster to come up front. So I want to know, Turks, do you think right now is with the youth we have, you can start building around? Now is the time to start sprinkling that bits of quality, or do you?
We was a couple points off a top 4 finish when no one, even I, didn't expect even a top 6 finish after last summer. So I think the right time is now. The young players excelled at times last season, hence why we was in the position we was in. So you look at that, you look at what they produced, and you have to say to yourself, they need the support, they need the experience, and that should close the gap if you do it correctly.
Yeah.
Not tell us again a few weeks in that we'll go in with youth again without mentioning experience. Because listen, look, Vieira, we've bought Vieira, yeah? Let Raphinha, it seems like we've made a bid. I don't know whether to believe it or not. I believe very little. Jesus, so let's say Jesus, Vieira's in and Raphinha comes in. We can't play Vieira, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka, Raphinha, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus. We can't play all of them. That's 7 players I've just named. We're going to be playing 3, max 4 of those players. But what about the other areas? If Kieran Tierney gets injured, I know we're linked to we've been linked to Zinchenko, Aaron Hickey, and Martinez. We're going to discuss
them, yeah.
But listen, there's still a lot of time in the transfer window. But let's make sure we do it properly. Let's make sure we're not going into next season getting behind youth again. Getting behind youth should be a given. They shouldn't need to sell it to us.
Yeah.
Young players, you get behind them. But young players, you also support and protect them. And as a fan base, the only protection we can do is tell other fans, listen, they're young. The protection they can do at the club is support them with the experience, support them with the right level of competition, and so on.
Yeah, which we see the protection. Is there any more super chats coming in before we?
Rudy. Why do we keep missing a huge point? Let me scroll up. Edu and Mikel detailed their strategy from the start. A youth core, and then start adding top tier players. Well, Rudy, that's what I'm saying. The top tier players. People will argue Raphinha, and I get that, but like I said, in that certain position, even if he was to come in and the level of competition and quality does go up, but we can't start all of these players all at once. So, I'm not saying depth is not important, because it is, but also fixing the gaps in the starting 11 are important. And we haven't really started to do that yet. Vieira comes in and 8 or a 10. I guess we'll wait and see if he's going to slot straight into the first team, or whether Tielemans is the one option for there in terms of starting 11 improvement. I don't know. I don't know, but I do like that. Arsenal seem to be doing business, number one, and doing it in a manner where it's under the radar.
Right. I think. Listen, before we move on now, this is obviously Edu did his quotes of Arsenal, spoke to them about this Project Youth, and we are 100% behind it. I know Turkish is as well. I speak of him last season. He was very much on the Project Youth, but he made a really good point there. As in, they shouldn't have to put it in front of us. They shouldn't have to sell Project Youth to us. We should just be. We understand it as fans. We understand young players coming through and shining, but they shouldn't be, for me, the forefront of this Arsenal side. I know they're going through a transition, but bringing in quality now would be imperative for this Arsenal side. So I liked what you said there about it. It shouldn't be forced, shouldn't be rammed down our necks. And there's a poll that obviously went in the chat that says, are you a fan of Edu's youth project? Now, a lot of yes was 69%. A lot of you said yes, and 31% said no. So I think a lot of people are with it, and understandably, you should be with it. It's just I want to know how long it's going to continue for, and when we're going to see those that side of quality come in, because we discussed pretty much all there. I want to speak to you, Turkish, on the players that not many people have spoken about. So
why didn't Edu mention that the next step is breaking into top 4? Some accountability here. There's still weeks left of the window. The season hasn't started yet, but it'd be nice to hear some. Like last year at the beginning, Edu didn't. He was asked, and he said, "Listen, we're riding the wave, basically. We're going to ride the wave."
Yeah,
and see where
there's
it
no
takes
targets.
us.
Yeah, there's
At the
no
beginning of
target.
this season, it'll be nice, and we should hear some accountability that this is now the next step we have to take, top 4.
Yeah.
So we can, because in your third year, surely that is, surely it's.
What's the next
it's
step?
fair.
It's the next step
more
of
fair.
the let's call it process. The next step should be attacking that top 4, especially when you've only just missed out on it last season. But I know there's going to be an excuse coming from Schumann, Arteta, or the people above. Obviously, the cup competitions are going to hinder, some of these. Some of these the runs we went on last season. I think they're going to be like, the fixture schedule is exhausting, because that's what it was the case when it was in Europa League when Mikel Arteta was there. I did see someone comment as well about the 5 subs next season as well. So
I get that.
So
as well.
I understand that, and bringing in young players, it keeps the wage bill down, and the more young players you have, the less they're going to demand. So
now what are you more
players.
Worried about? Are you more worried about 70 minutes? What can we do off the bench, or are you more worried about 0 to 70 minutes? What we do with our starting 11? That's the difference. Yes, 5 subs means that if you have an abundance of players and quality in the attacking positions, they will get more chances. But at the same time, I want to start an 11 that come the 70th minute mark, we're not trying to chase goals off the bench or trying to chase claw back a deficit. I want our starting 11 to be in a great place first and foremost before the depth. But I guess we're doing it in a way where, I don't know, we was in such a mess a few years ago when Arteta and Edu came in, and we was in a mess before that as well. We've been in a mess for an awful long time. I guess they're just doing it in a different way. But we need to hear the experience coming in.
Bus Kiva says, you ask for clarity, then complain when the club asks. Cecil, stop. I knew about this Project Youth from when they first started sending it to us, probably like a season and a half ago. So I knew about this. It's very clear. I know about the clarity, bro, but I'm saying, they need to start adding experience at some point. This is not fully clear, and Turk just spoke about it just a second ago. If you're going to dither around your expectation of trying to get in top 4, you're not being clear, you're not taking ownership and responsibility of that. Yes, you're clear about Project Youth, but we all knew about this. They've been sending this to us for ages. So allow that.
Let's see the other super chat before we move on. VJ says, with all expected outgoings, bracket Mari, Pepe, Guendouzi, Maitland-Niles, Nelson, Torreira, Leno and Bellerin, we can raise up to 100 million, minimum 75. Let me just go back a bit. Mari, Pepe, Guendouzi's gone for 9, and Mavropanos has gone for 3 million. So that's 12 million there. Maitland-Niles, Torreira, Bellerin, I'd say 10 million each. So let's say 30 million there. Add it to the 12, 42 million. Leno, 5 to 10 as well. Pepe, 15 to 20 if we're lucky, but that'll probably be a loan if I'm honest, with an obligation or an option to buy. So I think you're wide of the mark in terms of 100 to 75 million minimum. But from those outgoings, we should at least be able to raise 40, 50 mil But we'll see. So a 200 million expenditure seems feasible. Let's wait and see. All love, exactly, VJ. Let's wait and see. Oliver says Kroenke had owned part of the Rams and Avalanche since 1995-ish. At the time, both teams were winning titles. 27 years later, they're just competing again. Not before those teams had 5 to 7 year periods of being the worst. And Oliver, I think I misread or misunderstood your comment yesterday when Robbie and James were on the live, so apologies again. But yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. We're definitely on the same wave when it comes to Kroenke. Zayn says, I don't understand this youth process. All big clubs, excluding Spurs, have good youth players. To just depend on the young players is outright money saving. The way it's being done, that's what I lean towards. But if they build adequately with experience, then maybe that this project is something to be believed in. Touch of Awesome says that Bob Marley guy thinks he's having banter with Turkish when really he's a bit of a willy. 65 million Raphinha, says Rowan, plus 25 on Tillemans. 90 million, why not De Jong? Why not De Jong? Well, I think where Arsenal are at, players of De Jong's calibre and standing probably won't be looking our way. Luke, I back the youth project, but we have the youth now. We need quality for them to learn from, and I think I'm starting to see Arsenal realising that, hopefully. Where are we? Have bought experience before and it failed. Yes, but it doesn't mean you stop. We've bought youth before and it's failed. Do you just stop? You analyse why it failed, and
it's the right experience.
You do it
in as well,
the right way.
And Arteta's got to look at it as well. He backs Xhaka so much to the end. You got to back the right experience and make sure you're bringing in the right experience as well.
Charlie says Turkish Mikel basically started at -1 year. No, well, forget the half year he came in. I'm saying we're going into our 3rd full season under this project, process, whatever. So we're going into the 3rd one. So even if you scrap that half a season where he came into the club, I think going into your 3rd season, I think it's fair to say top 4 minimum. I love Arsenal. On Facebook says Arsenal can't find the buyer for Pepe. What's your opinions on Pepe?
We're going to get to that. I'm going to speak about some of the players that that aren't really being spoken about. The Pepes, the Congo. I want to speak about as well. And you guys watching as well. We'll get into that as well.
It seems like they're still attacking the youth strategy, getting 2 quality players in each position. Firstly, says Rudy, if you think about the signings, potentially Rudy, but at the same time, I'm tired of going into seasons knowing where we can potentially slip up and then eventually seeing us slip up in that exact same manner. I'd like to go into a season thinking that we can actually do something, not worried about how it can all unravel through one injury or lack of depth in a certain position. I think Saka benefited from the overuse. Versus the pressure. I think Saka's kicked on, but I think there's been times this season, especially towards the end, where he could have done with some rotation, some rest, and competition. A player, quality can aid. Quality and competition can aid development. So I think that's another part of it too. I'm not saying Saka hasn't developed well with the pressure and with the game time, because he has, but it would be good to see him compete for a position too. Arteta's football philosophy, says Elijah, is very rigid, involving intense press. Could it be that he requires teachable, energetic players for that to work? Age irrelevant. Well, you're saying age is irrelevant, but I've just said the youngest average age to win the Premier League is verging on 26. So age is very relevant when it comes to winning major things. And I get what you're saying, and that might be Arteta's philosophy, and that might be what he wants to do. But at the same time, you need the experience. Age is very relevant.
There's a lot of, listen, big up everyone sending super chats. There's a lot of super chats coming in. So
3 more left.
It's me just sitting there waiting, but
sorry.
No, it's cool. Go.
Tom says Turkish talks the truth. Rest in peace, Claude. Legend. R. True Red.
Ledge.
Definitely.
Just quickly on that as well, guys, I'm sure you're fully aware. You'll see it as well being advertised all over AFTV. The 26th of June, that is this Sunday. We play in the Claude Cup. We'll be doing a tournament of YouTube teams in the memory of Claude on the New River. It's in the New River Stadium in North London. Feel free to come down. It's £6 entry. All donations go to the Gunnar Claude Trust. Come and support. Come and be involved. And it is in honour of and memory of the legend that is Claude.
Chris says the strategy is wrong from the beginning. If you have great youth, the last thing you do is surround them with more youth. You bring in the right kind of experience to develop your youth properly. Chris, I'm with you 100%, my guy. And AMT says must have a mix of youth and experience. And don't get me wrong, Jesus 25, Raphinha 27. These are not young players. These are not youth players. And in an ideal world, you take them and it adds to your squad. But like I said, the price tag for Raphinha doesn't quite make sense to me with what we have. Jesus does, because there's a gaping hole there in the striking position that hopefully he's going to come in and fill. But yeah, one more.
Let's see him popping in.
Mr. Chains the rapper. Big man Tech, hope you and the little man are blessed. We are, my guy. Thank you, man. Love for the love. I had an idea for the Big Six sent on Insta. Would like to hear what you think. My Insta. Cool. I'll check that after the show, my guy. I'll check that after the show.
Yeah, big up. And Gunnar Mo, my Insta, Cecil_G. Chat to me, bro.
Oh, Raphinha's 25 as well, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, he is. Come and just message me, because you're chatting a load of waffle in this video as well, yeah. Cecil_G, chatting hella crap. All right, let's get into, see me, I'm just, let's get into some of the players that we've forgotten about. Just quickly, Turkish, I want to talk about, obviously, El Nane's signed an extension on his deal, so there's Xhaka's still in the lurch. What's going to happen with him, especially if he makes some signings here at Arsenal? What happens with Xhaka? Lokonga, what happens with Lokonga as well? Young player, midfield, had opportunities last season, but drowned a little bit. I know you don't like that term, but got exposed. But I still think there's a quality player in there. I think he needs time. There's fixtures next season I think he'll benefit from. Would you be interested to see Lokonga? Is there a fit in place for him next season? And then lastly, spoke at Xhaka there, Lokonga, and then Pepe as well. Is it seeming like Pepe's, because there's been no word really of Pepe and a move, but we're expecting, with all these links to other players like Raphinha and whatnot, whether he's gonna stay at Arsenal Football Club. People know my thoughts on Pepe, and I think it is time maybe for him to move on, and I think he'll benefit from a move from Arsenal now, personally, in my opinion. Unless there's an argument to say, obviously, the depth and the games that we're playing, 5 subs. But for me, I think we should be looking to improve in that position.
What are we talking about?
I mentioned three players there. Let's start with Lokonga.
He needs to step up this year. A lot of people gave him excuses in the first year. I get it. He's young-ish, but he's turning 23 this next season. He came in with high reviews in terms of the next Yaya and all of this stuff. And he came into a position where we was crying out for quality and crying out for someone new. So this season, we have to see not only more, but a better Lokonga as well. We have to see what he can potentially bring. Is he going to be the finished article? No. But 22 turning 23, if people are out there saying he's not ready, then you might as well say the same thing about Vieira as well, and then say the same thing about all the young players we have, and then ask yourself, if we got this many players that are not ready or too young, then why are we like this?
I'm trying to think of a run that he had when the Arsenal side was on a good run. I'm trying to think if he got it, because all the games I remember he kind of got exposed as playing the lone DM, which for me he could never do. He could never handle that. That's why I said it's unfair. I think the games he did play in last season, and I feel for him a little bit. And I've seen quality in him. I think he's very relaxed, very composed on the ball. He does glide, but I think he does need that person or partner next to him in that midfield for him to really show his quality. I'm still debating what he's best at, but I definitely think next season I would like to see him more involved personally. I think we're going to need him, especially, like I said, there's more subs, there's more fixtures, there's cup games, and we're going to need a big squad next season.
We are. A couple of super chats have come in as well.
Go on.
I remember when we struggled to hold on to our players, now we can't give them away. My younger siblings always ask me why I even support Arsenal. We're sleepwalking into obscurity. Get me on AFTV SC for the real supporters club. I assume you don't mean Snapchat.
Probably
supporters.
Yeah,
club.
message. We listen. We always
want
to bring fans. We want to bring fans on. So just like I said, there's DMs you can get in contact with. We can give you. Yeah, we'll discuss and try and bring people on as well. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, because next season it's about bringing in more fans, 100%. More opinions, more views. As we continue to do. So message me, my guy. Message me. Appreciate the super chat. Another one here saying we need a Thai and Turkish show. Thai to supply hopes and dreams, and Turkish to snap us back to reality.
You need that with Julian. You need that with Julian. I think Julian's
we don't need a show. Once a year, I talk to them, man. That's enough for me. Once a year. Schedule it. Once a year.
Once a year,
just schedule it. Yeah, that's it. Once a year, I'm good.
Gunnar Mo quickly with he's back, but he's come with a comment here. Good comment here. I mean, saying Sambi will never be able to play 6 by himself is not fair. Name me 121, 23 midfielder. 121 to 23 midfielder in the top 5 leagues that plays alone 6 by himself. There ain't much. trying to think, but no, not by himself, I suppose. There's young DMs. There is definitely young DMs.
I get that, but we bought him, so let's see what we're using him for.
And he came with high praise. There is young DMs that have the quality to be able to do it. I mean, that just doesn't seem like he can uphold it by himself. And there definitely is. And I'll come back to you on that while I have a little think.
K Karma says, respect to both of you doing this daily. As always, ignore the hate, enjoying these updates daily on the way home from work. Love for the love. Come on, my guy. Hope work went well to you and everyone out there. Rashad says, Basuma will eat Vieira for lunch. Well, we will see, my guy. We will see. With Vieira, I don't know too much about him, but he is an intriguing, interesting young prospect. I am for that signing. I like that signing.
There is some.
But Basuma's also solid, so
there is some examples in the chat there as well for that loan defence. And also, Lokonga didn't come in to Arsenal playing loan defence against big superior teams. I think obviously one of them was Nottingham Forest. I think one was they were the lower half of the table teams that he was playing against. So the players that were mentioned are playing a lot higher games, higher quality. So I don't know. I just feel like there's still the time for him. Listen, I want Lokonga to be involved this season, but I just agreed with you and said, I feel he had a lot of pressure under the games he got put into, but he shouldn't be the lone DM there.
Did you just mention Xhaka?
When?
At any time today. It's weird. Some people are weird. We've got this guy who's always commenting on the channel and making his word bold and that for people to stand out. I said, hating Xhaka is still a thing on AFTV.
No, I said he's a forgotten player at the moment. I'm talking about, let's talk about Lokonga, Xhaka,
People just talk for the sake of it.
There's
carry
no
on,
hate.
Carry on doing your thing, my guy. It's just weird. I'm there thinking, what, have we mentioned Xhaka?
No, not in a hateful way at all. I just mentioned the players that, some people may have put to the back of their mind, and I'm looking at them for next season.
Sensitive. Mark says, youth policy is fine, but we only have 1-2 more years with Saka and Smith Rowe before they move on. Unless we start winning. Roundabout club, 100%, Mark. 100%. They're going to, it's all good. Game time is very important when you're this age, but as you grow, as you develop, as you make the game time the norm in terms of 30 plus league games a season, then the next step is, where are we? Where am I going? What are we doing? What are we trying to win? And so on. So 100%.
I'll be intrigued to see what players, what they're thinking of. How, obviously, the process is now coming to the third season. How long do they wait? Because it should really come to fruition now. We missed out on top four. I hope for a lot of good cup runs this season for Arsenal Football Club, and I think the players would want that as well. I don't know about league position. I think we will struggle, but that is going to determine a lot of whether these young players stay.
It's too early to say. It's too early to say, because if you look the last week, when we woke up and saw Basuma signing for Tottenham, we all thought, fuck. But then since then, it's like Vieira's come through the door, and Raphinha bid's made, and Martinez apparently a bid's been made in the last 7 days. So that's what I like. Because it seems like we've got our targets, now go and get them now. And then when it comes to the end of July, then I'll give you a better assessment or opinion of how I think the season's going to go. Like I said last year, I didn't think we'd finish top 6 last season. We nearly made top 4. My opinion or what I think is not necessarily what's going to happen. And at the moment in time, I keep on saying this, I want to be proven wrong. Because at this moment in time, I don't really have the belief that this club has really changed and they're not trying to sell us dreams in a different way. That's all I want.
Okay, let's just quickly, I know there's some more super chats flying in there. I'm just going to briefly just touch over this about the Raphinha before we go into the activity and some more comments towards the end of this live. Arsenal plan improved bid for Leeds Raphinha as Spurs and Chelsea loom as well. This is from The Guardian and words from Fabrizio Romano. Leeds likely to demand at least 65 million for the Brazil international. Arsenal want Man City's Jesus as well as Raphinha. Let's just have a brief discussion about this before we go into one comments in the last activity. 65 million people. 65 million for Raphinha. I know you're saying his quality. I saw some people in the chat saying, Cecil, what you're talking about, Raphinha's like he'll walk in and be the best right winger we have and whatnot. I saw some silly comments, but for me, 65 million. You justify that?
But that's what they want.
But I mean,
I wouldn't pay that for him.
Okay.
I wouldn't pay that for him. I think there's other areas to spend that sort of money in.
Yep.
But at the same time, listen. At the same time, I said it earlier. Saeed done a video with Curtis, and I went on there quickly. Someone asked me what I think. I said, it doesn't matter what I want this summer to bring. It doesn't matter what you want this summer to bring. It doesn't matter what anyone in this chat wants this summer to bring. But what we can all agree on is surely whatever this summer brings for us fans and Arsenal Football Club, next season, top 4 is the minimum. Whether you disagree with me, whether you think I'm negative, put that aside for a sec. It doesn't matter what we think about this summer. But surely we can agree on what they do this summer should lead us into top 4 in the 3rd year of a process. You can disagree with me, you can call me negative, you can think I don't support the club, whatever. But surely what I just said there, everyone should be like, yes.
Right, through league position alone, Turkish, or through a cup.
If we're not talking about league position alone, then I'm not hearing it. Because we finished 5th last year.
But there's different factors next year. You've got cup games next season. If you go well, if you get into the Champions League spot through a cup competition, then yeah, I understand that. My thing is, I expect us to pick up silverware next season.
Yeah, silverware is always
that's my as a fan, that's my main thing.
Silverware's the be-all and end-all, but still, top 4 should be the target. 3rd year, this is Arsenal Football Club. This is Arsenal Football Club, you know. Yeah, I know we're long gone from the glory days. I know we are, but we're still massive. And that should still be the goal, bare minimum. I'm not saying make top 4 and we all run around the streets naked and acting like we've, you know,
that's not gonna
we've
happen.
gone invincibly. I'm saying make top 4 because surely that's the next step. Surely. Whether you disagree with my opinions on this summer, whether you agree with my opinions on this summer, it doesn't matter. Next season, whatever they do, they being Kroenke, Edu, Vinay, all of these, man, whatever they do we agree that top 4 is a must next season for this to be a success? Well, not a success because top 4 is not a success, but I mean for the process to continue taking the necessary steps.
It has to. It makes sense. 8th twice, then you drop down to 5th. It makes sense that you know the next step is going up higher in the league table. But I just know. I don't even have to know because people are going to say, oh, you're just making excuses already, whatnot. But that cup competitions, if we don't have the right incomings through this summer window, that is going to be the excuse. You know, we had to balance Europa League with the league fixtures. But that's why I heavily want silverware this season. I think as long as we achieve a fourth place, a full spot from either a cup competition or getting there through the league, then for me, that's part of the process, and it's going in the right stead, going in the right direction. If not, then people questioned Arteta many a times through the last season, but there'll be big question marks over him and his job role here at Arsenal. Honestly,
I think Kroenke, knows that top 5 will start getting Champions League from the season after this one, and I think that's what he's putting all eggs are in that basket.
Which is standards drop, standards dropping again.
We'll see, because then in between Newcastle take on new ownership. Chelsea have new ownership too, so maybe that goes the other way. We'll see, but relying upon these things and not doing what you need to do for your own business, your own company, your own football club, it can lead to failures like we've seen. Mark says youth policy is fine, but we only have 1-2 more. Actually, we read that one already. Big up Turkish for your view, says Young Gunner, keeping it 100. We can't afford any excuses next season. Omzi says, supporters club only when Julian is on, so I can talk some sense into him. My guy, good luck. Arsenal fans reduced to accepting mediocrity across all fronts. Never me. Anthony says, Vieira will be playing central, linking up with Odegaard. Partey and Xhaka will rotate as the DM because our defence have improved and Partey's injuries are a problem. They are. Vieira will not be played on the wing or 10 because we have Smith Rowe, Martinelli and Saka. I assume that he will form part of the 3 midfielders, but at the same time, if the Tielemans links pick up pace again, then it'll be interesting.
And personally, I'd rather I think you might see Vieira in that 10. I think he plays the best when he's in that 10 position. I think he plays there a lot better over Emile Smith-Rowe personally.
Aaron says Europa is good for players like Lokonga and youth. It is, but Champions League is good for players with ambition, and we want players that are ambitious. We want players that want to compete at the top level. Like I said, this is not daddy daycare. This is not, come and learn how, come and enjoy yourselves over here. This is the platform for you guys. And then push comes to shove, because we can't give them the next platform, they leave us. Yeah, when it gets to the latter stages of the competition, you're going to want to see the players that probably got you there to be more involved. So that goes with ambition as well and quality. You want to keep them in the side. I don't want to see the young players being used for the group stage and whatnot, and then get just bombed off when it gets to serious games. I want to have a solid rotation, like for like players. I don't want to see a drop in quality. So
Yes, they can be used, but you don't want to see a drop in quality on a good run.
Clifford says, I'm a Tottenham fan, but I'm going to the Claude Cup as it's in my ends and for a great charity. Hope to see you guys there for a pick and chat. Rest in peace, Claude. Cliff, I'll see you there, my guy. Don't wear a Tottenham shirt, please. Otherwise, I'm not sure we can take the pick, my guy. But love for the love. Paul says, great show, guys. As always, Vieira, Jesus, Ramirez, Tillemans, plus one winger would prefer... regarding the winger, would prefer Gnabry over Raphinha. Would be a great window. I agree. Bringing young gunners to the show in two. Bringing young gunners to the show. Okay, yeah, obviously the young guns then becomes the sprinkle on top. Love the show, guys. Dave says, as an Arteta fan, I expect third next season. Smile more. Dave, it's been a little while, my guy.
Yeah, but I don't know what
you're
it
good,
is.
man. Hope you're good.
Yeah, big up, Dave. Energy is a bit mad.
Cameron says, big up you two. Best shows are with you two. Love, James and Lee. Best shows are with you two, James and Lee. Has Lee Judges done this?
Not this, but listen, Lee Judges will be here doing...
Lee's going to Orlando as well, isn't it?
He is going to Orlando as well, so check out that. And he's coming to Germany as well, so we'll be going in the next 2 weeks. So make sure you guys look out for all the content coming
Then
out.
He says, Robbie's too stubborn. Also, people that think Turkish is negative. 2 words, Lee Gunner. But listen.
All right, let's...
Opinion, at the end of the day, like I said, there's so many people out there with negative opinions that as soon as something falls in line with what they believe in, they'll clap at positive. Or as soon as something falls in line with the positive fans think, they'll clap at negative. And that's where we are as a fan base. We are at that stage now where it's like we're point scoring with each other.
Why are we so divided?
We're point scoring with each other. So
it literally irks me to every day. But anyway, Omar quickly says, what if Arteta finishes 5th but wins Europa League? Now that was kind of Turkish. That was kind of...
You asked me that. Of course, winning stuff is the bread and butter for a big club. Winning stuff.
I wouldn't be angry with that.
Of course, I want to win the Europa League, and that brings a trophy. It's such a difficult one because I'm sorry, but the league really tells you progress. The league will really show where you are. It's hard for me to really definitively say.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be. Of course, I'm going to be happy if we win Europa League because it's a trophy at the end of the season.
The European trophy, yeah.
And actually, for me, 100%, because for me, I need the Champions League back, not to compete in it, but to see if the Kroenkes are really serious.
Right.
That's what I want to see. So yes,
and you can gauge.
I'll take a Europa League win, and
you can gauge level in that as well. I know it's still a cup competition, but you can gauge the level of where you're at as well from that. We are gonna. Actually, no. Quickly just run through these last super chats. We're gonna get to the that last.
Mark says this is not the Dutch league where you can win with the youth. We need experience. And Karma says we're divided because of snowflakes and their mentality. You already know people. So yeah, what were you saying?
Right,
love for that people as well. A lot of love, man.
Big up for the super chats, guys. I really appreciate it. And big up for everyone commenting and getting involved. Now it's time for you guys to get more involved because I just set this up before starting. We're gonna start with basically. This player or this player. It's very simple. It's going to come up on your screen, and there's going to be a poll in the chat, and just decide. I just want to see who you guys would want.
You know what we should do? We should save this.
Serious, yeah.
End of the week.
All right.
I'm just thinking we're an hour in already.
Yeah. Fair. Because
if we start this, it's going to be at least another 20 minutes.
It's going to be a while. Yeah, it's going to be a while.
You paying me overtime?
Hey, Rob. This guy.
Man said Rob.
He's asking for overtime, I know. All right, cool. Yeah, well then, let's take a few last little comments then. We have discussed pretty much everything throughout the show, apart from this.
If you want to, don't get me wrong, if you want to do it now, but I think it's worth, because what you've done is worth a show in itself or worth a bit of time. That's what I think. But if you want to do it now, we can do it now, that's fine.
Look at everyone, do it now. Guys, well, listen, we're here every day. So if you want to join us tomorrow, maybe look at doing something tomorrow. We might be back tomorrow as well, so we might have to even look at it.
It might be me and Cecil tomorrow.
Or
it's definitely going to be me here.
I'll be here as well.
Yeah. We'll cover it, man. I know you don't want us to do it now, people. I know you want us to do it now, but it is what it is. Couple super chats coming in. I honestly think it was Vieira or Tillemans, says Tutor in Pros. Potentially that's what it's looking like. Paul says, Turkish, love your opinion. If being ambitious and demanding of Arsenal is being negative about Arsenal, I'm negative too. Keep it up, Turkish. Paul, I think that's a great note to end on.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's a great note to end on.
It's nice. Well, listen, thank you everyone for joining us on this AFTV live. You can head over to shop.aftv.co.uk to get some of the merch. You see Turkish wearing the jumper there. Let me just quickly. My favourite jumper, my favourite top as well. I got the Thierry. I know you're looking like, why is Fred doing a quick change?
Bro.
Listen, big up the merch.
Bro.
Come and join the gang. You didn't see that coming, did you? I know you're thinking, what the fuck's going on?
I wish we could continue to the show now.
Yeah. And also, I spoke about earlier on in the show, on Sunday there'll be the Claude Cup. Coming down, come support. All funds raised will be going to the Guna Claude Trust. They offer so much. They give tickets to people that can't get to Arsenal games, and that's part of the trust and what they do, just a small thing of what they do through the trust. Make sure you're there Sunday. If not, we'll hopefully see you soon. And like I said, we'll be back again every day this week. And if you want to check out the transfer news and rumours, Transfer Daily every morning. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again very soon. Take care, people.
Love.